Triple G, once called Lil G by Andre Ward, got asked during the post-fight press conference, would you fight Jacob if the Canelo fight is not next? He responded by saying he not interested in the Jacob rematch because he don't want to visit or revisit old fights. He focusing on new tasks at hand and fighting new fighters. Then, when he got asked, would you fight Andrade? He stated that if I say I want to fight Andrade, they're going to say, what about Charlo? Then if I say I want to fight Charlo, they're going to say, what about Andrade? So his priority is Canelo, and that's it. So let's get straight to it. Now, Triple G, during the press conference, he forgot his English. He was responding in his own language. He didn't even want to talk with his broken English, which is fine. But at the end of the day, I guess he didn't want to get caught on camera looking silly, saying the wrong things, especially contradicting himself, which he already did. Don't matter what language you're speaking. We still got translators. But Triple G saying that he don't want to revisit old fights. So why you want to fight Canelo then? Canelo, in the second rematch, he convincingly beat you. You claim you want to fight Mexican style, blah, blah, blah. Canelo backed you up the whole night. He didn't even make a step backwards. You went from Mexican style to Muhammad Ali style to Floyd Mayweather style. And you couldn't even pull that off. Then when he mentioned he only want to fight new fighters on the come up, there's a lot of great fighters. You're right. A.K.A. Andre, A.K.A. Charlo. But nah, he not interested in them guys. He only interested in cab drivers. I guess he want to cherry pick his whole career is what he's saying. Now, we already know Triple G is the most overhyped fighter of our decade. The reason why, because old media, HBO, all labeled the man as the most feared fighter in the world when there were fighters like Rigondeaux who, at the time, fighters would move up in weight just to avoid him. But they never gave the man no recognition. But Triple G, on the other hand, had fighters like Andre Ward, even fighters from the lower weight divisions like Erislandy Lara calling him out, but he never gave them no shine. At the same time, he stayed cherry-picking 154-pounders. He was willing to move up to 168 to fight Chavez, but is not willing to meet Andre Ward at 164, which that fight could have solidified him as the best pound-for-pound fighter at the time if he would have won. A lot of people could have made the case for him. But he chose to swerve on Andre Ward because he didn't want no smoke with Ward. And that fight in particular could have solidified him as the number one pound-for-pound in the world if he actually took and won the fight. But he chose to swerve on Ward to fight tomato cans. Now, keep in mind, they also put Gennady Golovkin on the list of the best 25 fighters for the past 25 years. They put him like on number 14. And he haven't done anything just based on the eye test. If you see a fighter like Roy Jones and you put him on the list based on the eye test, I understand. Because he did things that you never seen done before. But Golovkin, he was blocking punches with his face. Obviously, as soon as he step up, he going to have a lot of problems because like Floyd Mayweather said, there was no special effect that he had going on. But now, looking back, they made a huge mistake because he lost to Canelo. A lot of people feel like Jacob won. So, the best victory he has is Kell Brook and Lemieux. And those victories don't even put you in the Hall of Fame. He got compared to Hopkins. They compared him to Hagler. And this man turned out to be not just the biggest hype in our decade, but he also turned out to be the biggest cherry picker of our decade as well, because the man ain't willing to fight nobody. And I mean nobody. He fought Steve after a Canelo fight. He's going to be, or he probably have a run like Klitschko did, where he stays undefeated for a long time. Damn right, If he stays fighting fighters like Steve and cherry picking the way he is, like I said, the man said he doesn't want to revisit old fights, but he wants a Canelo rematch or a trilogy. The man said he want to fight new fighters because they deserve a shot, but he don't want to fight Charlo, who was his mandatory for like a year and a half. And even the WBC mandated him to fight Charlo to get the Canelo shot. He said, oh, hell no. Went to the zone. They offered him a title shot versus Andrade. He said, hell no. Now, I don't know what's the zone going to do. Are they going to put a gun on his head to fight Andrade? Because obviously they ain't paying him all this money for nothing. You know, if Gennady Golovkin chooses to cherry pick the rest of his career, I think he signed a 3 or a 6 fight deal with the zone. The people that's going to get affected are the DAZN people, because the money they invested is basically went to waste. Also, Golovkin is, he making his pocket bigger, but he sure ain't helping his legacy. You know, he making it worse on himself. I see him getting stopped in a 3rd fight with Canelo Alvarez. I see Charlo knocking him out. I see Andrade putting a whooping on him. And that's why he don't want those fights. And even Jacob beats him in a rematch, in my opinion. So, Gennady Golovkin got nowhere to run and nowhere to hide. But, like I said, he don't even want to speak in English no more. Canelo done knocked his brain cells out of his brain because, like I said, he don't even want to speak in English no more. But I know why. Because at the end of the day, he does not want to get caught on the camera saying the wrong things and get bashed. The man is turned out to be not even loyal to his own trainer. His own trainer was getting interviewed by Dante hella times. And he will throw his reputation by lying for Golovkin, going all the way out saying, oh, Charlo don't deserve a shot. He got to prove himself. But the cab drivers he's fighting, they don't need to prove themselves. He was just making himself look silly, saying all the wrong things just to promote Gennady Golovkin, putting his reputation on the line, saying, Canelo, you ain't Mexican because you don't fight Mexican style. Then Gennady Golovkin end up fighting Muhammad Ali style, then dumping his own trainer. The only connection to the Hispanic community, all because of money. So basically, he turned out to be a culture vulture because he said, oh, Sanchez can't really teach me anything at this time. My new trainer, he taught me so much, and it made me fall in love with the sport again. And I understand, but you just can't teach an old dog new tricks. If you get a puppy and you try to teach him how to pee and sit down, it ain't gonna take you a while. If you get a homeless dog that's been out in the streets for like 2 years, it's gonna take you forever to teach him these things. Same thing with Golovkin at this point. You know, his new trainer had him looking like Tyson in there, bobbing and weaving during training camp. He went into the fight, he was getting caught left and right with jabs, snapping his head back, right? That's because Golovkin is just not athletic. He does not have head movement. Fighters like Roy Jones just naturally gifted with reflexes. Golovkin is not. That's why he block punches with his face, and that's not Sanchez's fault. So he used Sanchez and turned into a culture vulture in that boxing community. I never thought that was possible. I thought that only applied for hip hop, but what you know, expect the unexpected in boxing. Now, as far as Gennady Golovkin resume, it's very poor at this point. Can he even get in the Hall of Fame with his resume? Absolutely not, because like I said, it ain't like Oscar De La Hoya where, he lost all his big fights, but at least he got in the ring with them guys. Gennady Golovkin doesn't even want to get in the ring with these guys. The likes of Andrade and Charlo, he don't even want to test himself because he already know the results in his head. He already mentally defeated. And the monster image ain't selling anymore because he got exposed as a fraud. Now, it's disrespectful to compare Gennady Golovkin to Floyd Money Mayweather. But, for example, Floyd Money Mayweather always fought fighters. Even the later part of his career, he always fought fighters coming off their biggest win, aka Mosley knocking out Margarito, Cotto coming off his rematch with Margarito, Ortiz beating Berto, undefeated Berto. So we seen that with Floyd Mayweather throughout all his career. He always fought fighters coming off their biggest win. Not just that, fighting fighters 20 pounds bigger than him. If you compare him to a guy like Golovkin, he did the opposite thing. He always fought fighters smaller than him on more than one occasion. This is not something he did occasionally. No, he did that all the time. I mean, he brought fighters from 154 pounds, fighters that's not coming off their biggest win, fighters that was there to lose. They brought fighters for Golovkin just to make Golovkin look good and sell him to the public. And as soon as he stepped up in competition, the knockouts stopped coming and the losses started coming. Now, like I said, Gennady Golovkin, he's not loyal for leaving his trainer and talking bad about his trainer after all he did. He was really his promoter and trainer. And on top of that, none of that mattered as long as you perform in the ring. And he sure ain't performing in the ring like he's supposed to. And he stays ducking fighters and want to claim or still be a top dog when he's not even fighting a top 5 fighter. I mean, at least fight a fighter that's on the top 10. Just not a Steve who we never heard of. And you don't even want to fight the likes of Andrade and Charlo. Only a Canelo fight. Not even a Jacob fight, you know. And you don't even have an excuse whatsoever. So like I always say, subscribe below if you're trying to get smart about him. And if you're trying to get dumb about a second, don't listen to these casual ass fans. And just to throw it out there, like I said before, I was promoting Golovkin as well. You know, when he was first coming on the scene, when Sergio Martinez was ducking him, I'll call Sergio Martinez out on that. But they want to bring up that point 10 years later. Okay, Sergio Martinez was very old at the time. And yeah, he ducked Golovkin, but then he got stopped by Cotto. So you could see why he didn't want to fight Golovkin at the time. But Gennady Golovkin cherry-picked his whole career. At least Sergio Martinez was asking for all the smoke at one point, except for the Andre Ward, obviously. But, you know, at the end of the day, the Gennady Golovkin fans can't justify what Gennady Golovkin doing today, even yesterday. Now, peace. We outie.